Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another session of Hablemos, conversations around inclusion, leadership, and purpose with talented humans. I'm your host, Carolina Veira, and today I have the pleasure of inviting to this get together, to this reunion, to Michelle Harris. She is the founder and CEO of Bosstrack, and she's here with rocking the red glasses to tell us more about her story and what she's currently doing. So, Michelle, how are you today?
I'm great, Carolina. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to get into the conversation.
I'm excited about your whole look, your whole personality, your whole story. So, why don't we get started and you go ahead and share more about you and your story?
Sure. Yes, I'd love to. So, as you mentioned, I'm the founder and CEO of Bosstrack. We launched the company in January of last year, and we're focused on women's leadership development, and we're specifically focused on new women leaders. So, we provide courses, programs, content, mentorship, and community for new women leaders. And about a little bit about me, kind of going back into history, I've been in leadership, or I left a leadership role. I had been in leadership for 25, a little over 25 years. I moved into a leadership position probably 6 months out of college, and in college, I held leadership positions at different organizations within the university. So it's always been in my blood, and I just think growing up that I just had the personality, and being the older sibling, I it was just something that just came naturally for me. So I went into finance and accounting. That was really my specific focus in my career. I started out in Big Four. Well, it was not the Big Four then, but now the Big Four, and really grew in accounting and finance. Like I said, moved to leadership pretty early on. So my focus was more on building teams and developing people, and that just became my passion and what I became known for over time. So I primarily worked throughout my career for companies that were in, I would say, high growth mode, acquisition mode. The last company I was with, we were acquiring businesses average once a week. So it was just very uh, very
Challenging?
crazy environment, I would say. But it was energizing, and I really love that chaos, honestly. And it
Oh boy.
presents yeah, and it presents a lot of leadership challenges when you're leading people through environments like that. So I feel like I have been exposed to a lot, and that ended up being what I was hired for, was to come in and build teams, because we were in that high growth mode. And the last company I was with, we ended up selling to Goldman Sachs, and it just was kind of my opportunity to decide whether I wanted to go and work for another company, or whether I wanted to start something myself. My husband had retired from the Marine Corps after 31 years, so we had been eyeing up Miami Beach, and
Oh,
we decided to just go for it and move down here. And that's when I started building Boss Track. And I guess what drove me was I felt like I wanted to give something back. It's not about me. I am not interested in uh, making money and living a lavish lifestyle. I just wanted to do something where I could use my experience and skills and what I was passionate for to help other people. And that's really how I landed on starting Boss Track. So
I
yeah,
love
it's
that.
been exciting. It's been an exciting ride.
Do you think you are the same type of leader that you were when you started in your career, or in the middle of your career and now to today? Do you think you were the same? What
Mm.
changed? How was that evolution?
No, I mean, I would say, or early on in my career, I was very focused on my own growth and development, and I was still learning. I thought, and that's the thing. Probably the biggest difference is back then I thought I knew everything, and I thought, I knew, I knew best, and I knew the right way to lead, or the approach to take, and definitely now, of course, over all that time, you learn and you're humbled, and you understand that you have to work through teams, and it's all about your team, and you're there to guide them, and give them the support, the training, the knowledge, the ear that they need to do what they need to do, and that's how you get things done. So let's say that's maybe the biggest thing, is you don't necessarily realize that early on, especially one of the things that I saw missing in my own journey, and in my own leadership role, was the lack of training and development available for new leaders.
Hmm.
And, at the time, you could go out, and there were a lot of executive programs that you could send people to. But it's just different when somebody's moving from an individual contributor role into a leadership role. You're learning how to, make that whole mindset transition, and how you need to think about things differently, how you now are leading a team, and doing work through a team. And the only thing that I could find were like 1 or 2 day programs where people were sent off to those 1 or 2 days. Everything would be downloaded into the brains, and there'd be activities, and they were fun. I did a couple of those, but then you come back and you're just left to, okay, now how do I implement this in my own situation? And what what we do is we provide that training, either self-paced or over time, in a guided way, and then we also provide the mentorship and the support and the community that help
Hmm.
people, continue to learn, and implement everything that they learned. And because we teach over time, you have activities that are specifically applicable to your new role, and you do them, and you can actually put them into place, as you're working through it. So we really try to be that supportive, engaging, mentoring. Yeah, Bosstrack is all about mentorship. That's
Do
really
you
the
think that's
foundation.
do you think that support is what makes this program more or successful within the female community?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what sets us apart from other programs. I mean, even now you can go out to different universities, have leadership programs, and specifically women's leadership programs for new leaders. And we, the way we're differentiated is that we do have that mentorship, the online mentorship. You can connect with women leaders in the community. You can come out, and ask questions as you have them, and get answers. So yeah, I think I would say that that's what sets us apart, is that the community and mentorship aspect of it.
Hmm. And now, what? Obviously, you just mentioned that your why, the reason why you're doing this, is not necessarily because of all the millions and the billions that God would allow for you to make, but in life, but obviously because there's a sense of purpose behind what you're doing,
Mhm.
and obviously the conditions were ideal as well, since
Yeah.
your husband was done with a marine, and obviously Michelle, Miami Beach is a great place to be
Yeah,
in.
yeah, it's not bad.
Not bad, right? The sun and the beach helps a little bit.
Yeah.
What have you found that it has been the most rewarding part of the work that you're doing now, especially impacting so many women? And I know that you also are part of the board of Girl Scouts, so it's not only you do this type of work, and you're not only impacting women leaders or women who are becoming leaders, but also girls who
Mhm.
will become those future leaders in everything that you do. So what has been the most rewarding part, and probably the
Mhm.
most challenging too?
Yeah, I guess I would say there's two rewarding, and maybe these are two different things, but the rewarding thing for me is just I enjoy knowing that I've made a difference, and even if it's like a small piece of advice that made a difference. If somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, you taught this," or "This was in the program, and I took it back, and it helped me get through that conversation, and I can't believe like how well it worked." Like it just makes me feel good. I mean that really right now in my life, and even as I was in corporate, that was really what filled me with joy. I mean, when I was in North Carolina, I was part of an executive mentorship program. So we mentored college students, and I think mentorship has always been in part of what I do, even as a leader. Like just open door whenever you need anything, come in, we're going to work through it. And just it feels good to know that I can help other people in that way. I think too, the I think well, I really enjoy. I think we might talk about it later, but the podcast that I do, I really enjoy having real conversations with women leaders that have been in their leadership roles for 10, 15 years plus, COOs, chief technology officers, VPs. They I love having them share their experiences and hearing their stories,
Hmm.
and sharing that with other people. I get so energized, like, after every conversation, I'm just, like, hopped up on energy because this makes me feel so good. So I would say that is, that I get really, really passionate about that, but it's still all about sharing because that's the point, is we really try to share advice and inspiration and stories that can help leaders make their way, so they're moving up in their careers. As far as challenge, my biggest challenge has been, I when I went to college, I had my first son after my freshman year. So,
Oh, wow.
um, I ended up taking a year, maybe 2 years off. I took community college courses when I was during that time. And then I decided I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to go back. I had been accepted before I found out I was pregnant. I had been accepted to a new school, and I called their dean's office and I said, "This is my situation. I really want to come back." And I luckily I had the opportunity to go, and I took my son was probably, I think, 2 at the time, maybe a year and a half, and, took him to college with me, and he became my roommate, my college roommate, and
I love that.
and made my way. But then, I mean, I just that was my career journey, is I was not only, trying to make my way and move up the ladder as a woman, but also as a single mom, and balancing everything along the way. So
Absolutely.
I would say, I mean, I love it. I wouldn't give it up for anything. And I love all the stories. And everybody has stories of, that them being in the office, and playing soccer in the lunchroom, or bringing their video games so they can play video games while I'm working. And so there's so many stories that other people have, they brought joy to them as well. But yeah, it was challenging. It was very hard to balance all that.
You mentioned that it was you have a son, right? He's a son. That was
Well,
your first
I have
son.
two now. Yeah, I had two.
Okay.
Yeah.
But did he get an honorary degree? I'm just kidding. But I'm sure that you must tell him, you must share stories with him, as to, hey, I was taking this exam and you were crying,
Mm,
you didn't let me sleep before the test, something.
yeah.
I can only imagine those fun stories. And
We do have those fun stories, yes. And we share them, and he has some too, so
do you think that also because of you going through that experience and sharing with your son, with both of your kids, has that impacted the way that they behave, that they lead, that they see life, and how ultimately they are preparing themselves for their future roles as future leaders?
Yeah, no, I definitely believe that has impacted them in many different ways, and I see it in what they do and how they act. And I think one of the things that I've tried to instill in them is being a good person, and and definitely respecting women and what they do and accomplishments.
Mm.
And I think at least my older one, I would say, is very much like uh, focused on people. And my younger one is still too young, but he's kind of in his own world.
It comes with
It
age,
comes with
truly,
age.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
they're developing. He's developing into
Yes.
the person he
Yeah.
wants to become.
And yeah, and I mean, he has you could just it's just in a different way. He's very confident. He is very he knows what he wants. He knows what he doesn't want,
It
and
does
he
help
doesn't
that
want to
he's
give
the
his
youngest one.
values. Yeah, yeah, that is
It,
true.
yeah, it's different with the first one, and then compared to the second one. And Michelle, obviously, that's a huge life story. But I was going to
Mhm.
ask you, and I don't know if that's the same story, but forgive me if I ask that question again. Is there a life story that shaped you into the person that you are today?
Hmm. Yeah, actually, yeah, when you asked me that, I was thinking that is exactly what life story shaped me, because that was my life. I mean, that was my story, is uh, to raising them to be the best people that they could be, while also not giving up. I mean, not that I had the luxury of giving up on my career. I had to work. I had to support us all, but um, yeah, just I think that has definitely that shaped the way I see the world, the way I lead, and it.
And is there a difference, Michelle, between helping women become better leaders compared to helping boys and helping men become better leaders? What do you think is the difference, if there's one or two or many?
Honestly, I don't think there is a difference in helping. I think the thing that is different is that you're preparing them for the realities of the world. And so preparing women for the bias and how to overcome bias, and what do you say in certain situations, and how do you feel confident. It's just a different conversation
Mhm. And
because
how
of
you
the
can
different.
support them.
Yeah, because they're faced with different things that my boys are gonna are faced with being boys. But
No, and absolutely. And what I was also thinking about is, um, not only what they will be facing, but how can they support the women who they are
yeah,
going to be surrounded by, right? And uh, how can they, and eventually if they decide to have children as well, what if
mhm,
they have girls? It's very interesting because I usually invite men whenever I'm hosting a discussion among women, and it's interesting to bring men into the conversation, even if it's just to listen,
yeah,
because they think about, hey, I may not be a woman, but I have a daughter,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I have, somebody in my family, my niece, and I didn't see things that way before. But now that I know, I can share that knowledge, and I can work or do whatever I can, whatever is in my power, to make the road less
yeah.
complicated for them, less difficult, right?
No, you're absolutely right. And of course, yeah, that's something that I instilled throughout the years of them growing up, is, you know, how to treat a woman right and see them as equals, and how to be an ally. And even in our courses now, and we do talk about how men can be allies. I mean, men can go through our programs and courses. I mean, they're very women centric, but we do have opportunities to, talk to men about how they can support and be allies. And it's, I had my first male podcast guest a few weeks ago, and it it filled my heart because he was, talking about that very same thing. Is, he had a daughter and he wants his daughter to grow up in a world where she has the same opportunities and wants to be treated the same. And I think, and I've had other conversations that have come up recently with other men that are in our friend group and in our network, and it's really refreshing when you hear people hear men kind of have that, you know realization and understanding that they need to, do better, or, you know
Do their part.
yeah, exactly. Do better was a
Yes.
bad choice of words, but yeah,
It's
do their
okay.
part.
It's okay. They all know what we mean. Just do your part,
Yeah.
right? Um, do you think we have come to a place where women have the same opportunities, or there's still more work to do? And if there is more work to do, what can we as women do to get there?
Yeah, so that's a good question because no, I don't think that women are. It's not like, I don't know if you've reviewed the Women at Work study by McKinsey, but they track like how many women, what percentage are in that come into the workplace, and then, as every rung on the ladder, like where how things fall off, and the percentages are pretty. Still they're not moving in a good way. And so, we come in at 50-50, like when it come into the workforce, and then the next rung we lose like 8 points, and then the next rung is like
Mm.
another 8 points, and by the time you're at CEO level, it's a
Oh,
pretty small percentage. I think it's like
very small.
30%, if any, or if that much. And then for women of color, it's, way less than that. And still, the pay gap, I don't have, that's not my area of expertise, but I've talked to people, and the pay gap is still terrible. And especially, again, when you start talking about women of color and Latina women, and it's just yeah, there's still still so
There's
much
still
work
work
to
to do.
do. But the thing is, I mean, for what can women do? Speak up, be confident when they know something's not right. Be bold and address it. I think there are a lot of studies where women are less likely to ask for things, like to ask for additional pay when they know they're not being paid fairly, to go for that role if they're missing one or
Mhm.
two areas of experience. But men don't care about that. They're not like
Right.
they're more likely to go for it. So I think, that's definitely one thing, but a lot of it really is, the company side itself. I mean, it needs to change. And hopefully, as we have our generations moving up into those higher positions, that they can start to, if they're starting to understand here now, they can start to change things as they move up. It's just, unfortunately,
Absolutely.
the trajectory is long. I think they say, women, we're going to have somebody on Mars before women are equally represented in the C suite. So
And you mentioned a great point. We need. I think things will change once we have more women or allies in those
mhm,
roles, right?
yeah.
In those roles that are making the decisions for how much you get and how much you don't, and all that stuff. But that's why we need to continue preparing ourselves and speaking up, and just
Mhm,
owning our voices, and reminding people of our value,
yeah.
even if it sounds too obnoxious. That, oh, here we go again. Guess what? That's the only way that that
Yes.
we need to send constant reminders. I absolutely agree with you on that. Is that the type of training workshop that you incorporate into your programs? And tell us more about specifically what programs do you offer through Bosstrack?
Yeah, thank you. Well, we started the company with a 6-week accelerator program. So it's scheduled, starts at a specific date. We walk through that leadership mindset, the delegation priorities, how to shift your thinking from thinking it's about you to now your team. But we focus on communication, clear communication. Confidence is a big part of what we talk about. We talk about emotional intelligence. We again, wellness. We talk about oh geez, what am I missing? Hold on. Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
think
no,
a
that's
little
good.
bit. There's too many things that you
Yeah.
cover.
But yeah, I would say the and networking. I'm sorry, that was the biggest one. That was
The one that we
so
started with.
yeah. So I think for us, networking is huge, and
Let's talk about that,
yeah,
because sometimes we forget that your network is your net worth, right? We
hmm,
need to not only meet people, but meet people intentionally, and also cultivate those relationships, right? And I
yeah,
know we have a limited amount of time, so unfortunately, we have to choose and pick. And when I say limited amount of time, is in life, right? we
yeah,
we
yeah,
we have work, we have other commitments, we have kids, we have families, we have parents, grandparents, dogs. We have it all, right? We want it all,
hmm,
so we overcommit. Or what I tell myself, that I overcommit, so that's why I
yeah,
generalize. But I
yeah,
know but we also have to work on those relationships.
yeah,
How how do you remind these women that they need to spend that quality time, even if it's 15 minutes over coffee, and hopefully even if it's virtual coffee, but just building those relationships based on what connects us, and not necessarily what I'm selling or what I need. More of a, hey, what can I do to help you, and how we
hmm.
can make this a partnership where you and I benefit from it.
Yeah, so yeah, we spend a whole week on networking and relationship building because it is so important to career growth. And we really talk to, we try to convey, of course, the importance of it, but also the fact that it doesn't have to be this like bad word. Networking doesn't mean that you have to go to a conference and
Mm.
stand in the corner worried about, who should I talk to? Who am I going to talk to? And it can simply mean joining uh,
A
a
club,
presentation that you
right?
want to a webinar online, and like watching the chat and kind of joining in the chat. Or it could mean looking out on LinkedIn and reaching out to somebody that you find very interesting and has an interesting background. It could mean, yeah, like you said, a club. It could yeah, we you can't discount social clubs because your social
Yeah, or
network
book club or
is
something,
yeah,
right?
book club. And you have
Wine
to,
club.
yeah, you just have to look at it through a different lens, that that to get to know people not only socially but also what do they do. And because I mean that's it, a lot of where you get in your career is through who not necessarily what you know. And we do actually have a mini course for people in the community coming out, and I think it's next week. That actually, for people that it is very overwhelming to think about, like targeted. Let's think about having a personal board of advisors, kind of like a personal board of directors. Like, let's
Hmm.
target a very small, like a subset of what you need to focus on in networking. So it's not like you're just going out and just trying to meet everybody. Like, have that mentor that you can talk to. Have put yourself in front of people at work that can be your sponsor, and find those opportunities to um, highlight your achievements.
Right.
Have your HypeSquad. Have that
I love that. Your
fun. Yeah.
husband.
Have that one person that knows everybody, that is
Hmm.
that connector. So
Right.
we talk about just maybe targeting in on having one or two each of those. I would say, you want more in your hype squad and maybe at least one mentor. But anyway, like how to make it a little simpler and easy to digest. And, we give them a worksheet to organize it and everything. So we try to make it very simple and not seem so overwhelming. Because I think that's the thing, is that you just like everybody just thinks of it as a bad thing. And it doesn't have to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to highlight something because it's really close to my heart. Everything that you mentioned, having that support system, the network, the friends, the sponsor, right? That person who speaks about you, like you mentioned, your achievements. But then also be that sponsor for
Yes.
others. When you're
Hmm.
in that room and you're surrounded
Yes.
by the people at work, and you don't see somebody that needs to be in that room, speak up and ask the question, why isn't this person this? We need
Yeah.
to do that, right? To advance. If we want to, at some point, after 200 years, close that that pay gap that we talk about, we need to do more work about that, about
Yeah.
owning our place as sponsors of others, right?
Totally agree. Yes. Thank you for voicing that. Yes.
It's so important,
Hmm.
and the program that you develop and taking it into account, networking event, well, the networking component, but also you're developing initiatives like the one that you had back in August, where you bring women and have those roundtable conversations. And I love that your pillars are leadership, obviously, but also health and
Hmm.
wellness, and mental health. And
Hmm.
it's so needed. We don't speak enough about mental health. We don't speak enough about our needs. Our We all go through periods of, hey, we're 100%, we're like 200, we're giving it all, and
Yeah.
then okay, maybe today my 100% is only 20, and I need to go to bed early because my
Hmm.
body is asking me to rest, and it's okay to feel that way. It's just we need to do something about it, right?
Yes. Yes.
when
Yeah.
you when you bring those, I'm curious, when you brought those wellness contributors to that discussion, to that round table, what do you think it was the main takeaway? What did you share, what did they share with the audience? I think it's important for me to, I keep learning as you do when you have these podcast conversations. So what would be that message to all the women watching today?
I think the biggest thing for that evening specifically was just the takeaway of the importance and the reminder of how they can build it into their lives. And so what we the last event that we had, we were focused, the two wellness roundtables were focused on moving your body. And they were talking about like how it doesn't need to be something big and how you can do smaller things and fit it into your life. And that table, I felt kind of bad because at the end of the evening, like even through like we had, the networking at the end and the giveaways and all that, and she was still like working on following up with people from her. So people were definitely taking away like what are some things that I can do, and wanting to learn more. And then the other one was really on like mindset shift and how we can
Mhm.
think differently. And those two, we had women talking about leadership, but I do want to say like the wellness tables were probably our more popular tables at the session.
We all need that reminder.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
interesting because you mentioned to me that after that roundtable, the women felt re-energized,
Hmm.
and that the same happens to me when either I attend one of these roundtables or conversations with other women around leadership, or I create something for, community partners. But and I get the same comment. Oh, this is just what I needed.
Yeah.
There's either people who go to this, attend these roundtable discussions every month, and there's others who haven't done it in 4, 2 years. But it's always the same comment. So to me, it's a reminder that we always need to remind
Yeah.
ourselves about the value of our voices, the value of our community, the value of those people that we surround ourselves with. So I appreciate you reminding me of that. Um,
Yeah.
I want you to share the programs that you're offering right now. You mentioned something about women who have been laid off. Maybe there's an opportunity there, not only for women who are right now doing well in their corporate world and maybe they're looking to advance, go to you, but also those who may have been laid off and you're providing an opportunity there. Please share that with us.
Yeah, so thank you. We do have programs that anybody can join. They're self-paced, but what you specifically mentioned, we are working this week on announcing free membership to the community and free access to the courses for women that have been involved in these layoffs that have occurred. So we're hoping to announce that this week, and I'm not sure exactly when this will go live, but we'll be sharing that on LinkedIn and social media and how to get access. But we're just want people to use our community. We have probably 20% of our community are experienced women leaders that want to also they're further in their careers and they want to be able to give back. They want to share their advice, and they're out there, waiting for people to ask them questions and ask them for specific advice, general advice, and have those conversations. So, and then we have. We have a growing course catalog, but we're planning to make that available to those women as well for as long as they need it, and hopefully continue on to be continued members.
I love that. And how do people reach out to you? How do they get a hold of this catalog?
Well, they can watch on LinkedIn. When we make the announcement, we'll have the instructions on how to do that. But also, if you want to kind of keep up, I mean, it should be out this week. But if you want to reach out to me directly, I'm on LinkedIn every day, and I'm always available for if you want to talk, if you have any questions at all, I'm willing. I mean, not willing. I'm there and available to offer my voice and my experience as well. So
Great, Michelle. Thank you for the opportunity to connect with you. Thank you for the opportunity to learn more about you, but also the great work that you're doing supporting women, especially those who are ready and who don't think they're ready, that we know they're ready. We need to push them so they get to those leadership roles. We need more and more if we, like
yeah,
we said, if we want to advance others and the future generations as well. So I appreciate everything that you do.
thank
And
you.
please go to Michelle's LinkedIn page, Michelle Harris, or I'm sure that if you type in Bosstrack, also you can find more information there. And
Yeah, I would say, but I do want to say there are a lot of Michelle Harrises out there, and I probably don't look like my profile photo anymore. I need to update my profile, and it's not that
I
old, but
love
my
the
hair
red
grew, and I
hair in
changed the
that
color.
picture.
But it's Meet Michelle Harris. So if you put in Meet Michelle Harris, that's me.
Wonderful. Well, I want to thank you, Michelle, for your time, and I also want to thank everyone for tuning in, learning more about Michelle, learning about what she's doing and what she's creating through Boss Track. And contact her, learn more about what she's doing on a one-on-one. It never hurts. It's always more beneficial to have that one-on-one.
Mhm.
And I wish you nothing but success. And I know that we're going to be connecting in other
Yeah.
initiatives, so I'm looking forward to that, Michelle.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, Carolina, for having me on. I appreciate it. I appreciate any opportunity, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the future as well.
Yay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll stay in touch. Don't forget, we'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.